happy after Christmas. We dropped off of our study in Genesis to ask some questions about the Christmas story. And we're back to the book of Genesis. You remember that when we left Genesis, we were in chapter 33, and Jacob was cleverly trying to plan out his meeting with Esau, still afraid that Esau would kill him for his taking his birthright and his blessing. Jacob uses some clever ways of trying to soften Esau and sending out gifts in advance of his family, and then sending his family out trying to get sympathy. And nevertheless, Esau has changed to some degree, and Esau no longer wants revenge, and he doesn't even want Jacob's gifts, although he finally eventually accepts them just for peace. It's pretty apparent to me that while there is a reconciliation and they agree to be peaceful with each other, that neither one is real anxious to be a best of friends kind of a relationship. In any way, they part their ways as friends and go in different directions. And it brings us into chapter 34. The title in many of the study Bibles is The Defilement of Dinah. And Dinah, if you'll remember, is the daughter of Leah, as one of the children is recorded for us in Scripture as being Leah's daughter. And she's a very adventurous type of gal, and she evidently decides to leave her people and to venture into the established town or settlement where there are a bunch of Hivites, and Shechem, the son of Hamor, decides that he likes her and decides to force her into a physical relationship, rape, if you will. And he really believes that he loves her, although we'll have to question that somehow. Nevertheless, he goes to his father and he says, "Dad, get me this girl. I would like to have her as my wife." And his father, loving his son, decides to go out and visit Jacob and to see if he can't make some kind of arrangement to get his son, Dinah, as his wife. When Hamor goes out and meets with Jacob, of course, Jacob's not thrilled about what's all happened, and so Hamor tries to make a deal. He says, why don't we just go ahead and allow our sons and our daughters to intermarry, and that we'll allow you to have free run of our area, and we'll have free run of your area, and we'll all get along with each other with this intermarriage. Well, Jacob's sons become angry. They want revenge for Dinah, and so they make a deceptive deal with the father of Shechem, and the deal is this: that we can't possibly intermarry with you people because you don't follow our customs, so all of you need to be circumcised, and then we can have this intermarriage relationship. Well, Hamor and Shechem have to go back to the city gates and convince everybody else in town that males need to be circumcised. But they do it craftily too. They say, well, if we do this, then all of the possessions that they have will be accessible to us, and their daughters will be accessible to us, and this will work out for our material benefit, for us to be able to get our hands on their material benefits and things. And so all of the city's men go ahead and agree to be circumcised. On the third day of this healing process from circumcision, they're in the greatest area of pain. And that's when Jacob's sons go in and they slaughter all of the males of this town, if you will, and take and loot the town. They take the wives and the children, and they take all of the possessions. And Jacob's not real thrilled with this. Jacob was never part of this arrangement. Remember, Jacob met God there in the plain before he got to his father-in-law's, and he's a different man than he used to be, and he's not happy with this. As a matter of fact, he realizes the long-term consequences are that all of the Hittites, Levites, not Levites, all of the Hittites, Jebusites, and Canaanites are going to be less than friendly with him because of what they've done here in this town. And so as you move into the first verse of chapter 35, you find that God says you better move. And he says, why don't you go back to that place, that sacred place, Bethel? And so that's where we find Jacob moving out because of the problems that his sons have caused, Simeon and Levi have caused, and he moves on to Bethel. Now there's some real neat applications, I think, that we need to look at before we leave this particular story. The first thing is there's a difference between lust and love. We don't hurt somebody that we love. We don't force somebody that we love. And Shechem needed to learn what love is really all about. He may have lusted for Dinah. He may even thought that he loved her. But when we really understand the word love, it doesn't mean force, and it doesn't mean treating somebody with contempt, but rather we would take into account their feelings and not force people. The second thing that we learn here is that anger is always something that will get you into trouble. There's only righteous anger, and righteous anger will not get you into trouble, but most of the time the anger that we suffer is anger that will get us into trouble. Things that we say and do when we're angry will usually have adverse effects, and you've heard me say it many times on devotions before. The acid of anger will hurt more the person in whom it's stored than the person on whom it's poured. And so we need to be careful about anger. We need to be careful that we don't confuse lust and love. And we also see a message about greed here. The Hittites saw a chance to materially benefit from this relationship, and in their own cleverness they thought they were going to get Jacob and all of his material possessions and all of his people to be part of them, and so they were willing to do something that wound up to be their downfall. So we have a very interesting series of lessons that we can learn in chapter 34 and the defilement of Dinah. And that's my thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.